The steady beep of the heart monitor was the only sound in the room when Emma Chen's eyes fluttered open. Horror washed over her as she realized she'd fallen asleep, her head resting on the chest of the comatose billionaire she was assigned to care for. But before she could move, she felt it, the slight rise in his breathing pattern. Then came the words that would change everything: "Don't go. You're the only real thing I've felt in 3 months of darkness." If you're moved by stories of unexpected connections and second chances, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt stories that remind us of our shared humanity. Emma Chen hadn't meant to fall asleep during her night shift. At 27, she was the youngest senior nurse at Manhattan Memorial, respected for her unwavering dedication and gentle touch with patients. But after working double shifts for 2 weeks straight, exhaustion had finally claimed her. Her patient, Lucas Blackwood, was a 42-year-old tech billionaire who had been in a coma for 3 months following a devastating helicopter crash that killed his pilot and personal assistant. The media had swarmed the hospital initially, but interest had waned as weeks passed with no change in his condition. Now, only Emma and a rotating team of specialists monitored his care, along with occasional visits from his cold, calculating brother who seemed more interested in Lucas's company than his recovery. That fateful night, Emma had been checking Lucas's vitals at 3 a.m. when she sat down for just a moment. She'd been talking to him as she always did, telling him about her day, the changing seasons outside his window, and the latest hospital gossip. Emma believed comatose patients could hear more than doctors thought. She'd seen too many miraculous recoveries not to believe in the power of human connection. "The cherry blossoms are starting to bloom in Central Park," she had whispered, adjusting his blanket. "I wish you could see them, Mr. Blackwood. They remind me that everything has its season. Even healing." Then, without meaning to, she had drifted off, her head coming to rest gently on his chest. The sound of his voice, raspy from disuse but unmistakably alert, jolted her awake. "Don't go. You're the only real thing I've felt in 3 months of darkness." Emma gasped, immediately pressing the emergency call button while checking his vitals with trembling hands. "Mr. Blackwood? Lucas? Can you hear me?" she asked, her professional training kicking in despite her shock. His eyes, a startling blue she'd only seen in his medical chart photos, focused on her face with surprising clarity. "You've been talking to me," he said slowly. "About your mother's garden. About the patient in 302 who snuck in his dog. About how you believe everyone deserves someone who waits for them." Emma's eyes widened. She had indeed shared all those things, never expecting he would remember. "You heard me? All this time? Your voice was my anchor," Lucas whispered, his hand weakly reaching for hers. "When everything else was floating away, you kept me here." The hospital erupted into controlled chaos as doctors rushed to assess Lucas's miraculous awakening. Tests were ordered, specialists consulted, and Emma was simultaneously praised for being present during the breakthrough and gently reprimanded for falling asleep on a patient. Dr. Harrison, the neurologist who had been overseeing Lucas's case, pulled Emma aside after the initial excitement had settled. "I don't know what you did, Chen, but his brain activity is stronger than we could have hoped for after such a prolonged coma. Whatever connection was formed," he paused, choosing his words carefully, "it appears to have created a pathway back." Emma nodded, still processing the events herself. "What happens now?" "Now comes the hard part. Recovery. Rehabilitation. And dealing with the vultures who'll be circling once word gets out." The vultures arrived faster than anyone anticipated. By noon, the hospital's PR department was fielding calls from every major news outlet. By evening, the story had leaked: "Billionaire tech genius awakens from coma, speaks first words to nurse." What the headlines didn't capture was the fear in Lucas's eyes when his brother Marcus arrived, flanked by lawyers. "Thank God you're back," Marcus said, though his eyes didn't match his words. "The board has been in chaos. We've had to make some difficult decisions in your absence." Lucas, still weak but increasingly alert, simply watched his brother with a wariness that Emma immediately noticed. Perhaps business discussions can wait until Mr. Blackwood has had more time to recover, Emma suggested, checking Lucas's blood pressure, which had elevated since his brother's arrival. Marcus gave her a dismissive glance. "And you are?" "The person who brought me back," Lucas said before Emma could respond. "And she's right. Whatever you've done to my company can wait." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Of course. Rest well, brother. We have much to discuss when you're stronger." After he left, Lucas turned to Emma with troubled eyes. "Something's wrong. I can feel it." Emma hesitated, then decided he deserved honesty. "There have been rumors. Your company, Blackwood Tech, announced a major pivot 3 weeks ago. They're moving away from the renewable energy projects you were spearheading and focusing on defense contracts instead." Lucas closed his eyes, pain crossing his features that had nothing to do with his physical condition. "Everything I've worked for, he's dismantling it all." "You're awake now," Emma reminded him gently. "You can fight back." He opened his eyes, studying her face. "Why do you care? You don't know me." Emma adjusted his foreline, considering her answer. "I've spent 3 months caring for you, talking to you, watching over you. In some ways, I know you better than people who've met the public version of you. I know you sleep more peacefully when classical music is playing. I know your heart rate stabilizes when I read poetry. And I've read every article about your work bringing sustainable technology to developing communities." She straightened her shoulders. "The man I've come to know through those things deserves to complete his mission." Lucas was quiet for a long moment. "What's your name?" "Your full name?" "Emma Chen." "Well, Emma Chen, when I get out of this bed, I'm going to need someone I can trust. Someone who sees the real me, not the bank account or the company." Emma smiled slightly. "Let's focus on getting you walking again first." The weeks that followed tested both Lucas and Emma in ways neither had anticipated. Lucas's recovery was grueling, his muscles had atrophied during the coma, and he struggled with the simplest movements. His brilliant mind remained sharp, but the disconnect between what he wanted his body to do and what it could actually accomplish left him frustrated and, at times, despondent. Emma, meanwhile, found herself reassigned from Lucas's direct care, a decision made by hospital administration after Marcus Blackwood raised concerns about professional boundaries. But she continued to visit during her breaks and after her shifts, becoming Lucas's most steadfast supporter. "I can't do this," Lucas said one particularly difficult day, after falling during a physical therapy session. "I built an empire from nothing, and now I can't even stand on my own." Emma sat beside his wheelchair, not offering platitudes. "You're right. It's not fair. None of this is fair." He looked at her, surprised by her agreement. "But fair or not, this is where you are," she continued. "And from what I've read about Lucas Blackwood, he doesn't give up when things get hard. He innovates. He finds another way." A ghost of a smile touched his lips. "You should have been a motivational speaker instead of a nurse. And missed the glamorous world of bedpans and night shifts?" "Never." Their laughter was interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Harrison, whose expression was grave. "We need to talk, Mr. Blackwood. Your brother has filed for conservatorship, claiming your cognitive functions are too impaired for you to make your own medical and financial decisions." The color drained from Lucas's face. "That's absurd. I'm fully cognizant." "We know that," Dr. Harrison assured him. "And my medical assessment will reflect it. But he's assembled a team of experts who never treated you during your coma, and they're building a case." Emma felt cold fury building inside her. "He can't do this. It's a blatant power grab." "Unfortunately, he can try," Dr. Harrison said. "The hearing is scheduled for next week." After the doctor left, Lucas turned to Emma, determination replacing the defeat in his eyes. "I need to get out of here. Not run away, but I need to. Not run away, but I need to show the world, and the court, that I'm capable. That I'm still me. Emma hesitated. Lucas, you're still recovering. Your therapy can continue elsewhere. I have homes, private medical staff I can hire. He reached for her hand. Emma, I need your help. Not as my nurse, but as the one person in this world who I know isn't after my money or my company. She should have said no. It was against every professional boundary, every hospital protocol. But looking into his eyes, Emma made a decision that would alter both their lives forever. What do you need me to do? The plan was simple but risky. Lucas would be discharged against medical advice, his right as a competent adult, and hold a press conference to demonstrate his mental acuity before Marcus could complete the conservatorship process. Emma would help coordinate his continued medical care at his Manhattan penthouse, taking a leave of absence from the hospital. What neither of them anticipated was the media frenzy that erupted when Lucas Blackwood, supposedly still recovering in seclusion, appeared at the headquarters of his own company. Leaning on a cane but standing tall, Lucas faced a sea of reporters and cameras. 3 months ago, I was given a second chance at life, he began, his voice stronger than Emma had ever heard it. During my time in darkness, I came to understand what truly matters. It isn't power or wealth or control, it's purpose. It's connection. He outlined how his brother had systematically begun dismantling his vision for Blackwood Tech, pivoting from sustainable energy solutions to military contracts. Today, I am not only reclaiming my health, but reclaiming the soul of my company. Effective immediately, I am announcing a restructuring of Blackwood Tech's leadership and a recommitment to our original mission, creating technology that heals our planet rather than exploits it. The questions came rapid fire after his statement, but Lucas handled them with the sharp intelligence and charisma that had made him a business icon before his accident. When asked about his recovery, he didn't hide his struggles but spoke of them with honesty and even humor. "And who is the woman who has been by your side today?" one reporter called out, pointing to Emma, who had been standing quietly in the background. Lucas turned to look at her, a softness entering his expression that the cameras didn't miss. "This is Emma Chen. She is the voice that guided me back from the void, the hands that helped heal me, and the heart that reminded me what I was fighting for. Without her, I wouldn't be standing here today, in more ways than one." The headlines the next day were predictable: Billionaire and Nurse, a modern fairy tale, and Sleeping Beauty in reverse, Nurse awakens comatose billionaire. What the tabloids painted as romance, Emma knew was something more complex, a connection forged in vulnerability and strength, in darkness and return. Marcus's attempt at conservatorship crumbled in the face of Lucas's public resurgence, but the battle for Blackwood Tech was just beginning. Board members had to choose sides, shareholders demanded stability, and Lucas, still recovering physically, had to prove he was strong enough to lead. Through it all, Emma remained his steadfast ally, though she struggled with her new role. She was neither employee nor family, neither medical professional nor friend. She existed in an undefined space that grew more complicated as her feelings for Lucas deepened. "You should go back to the hospital," Lucas told her one evening, as they sat on the terrace of his penthouse overlooking Central Park. "You're a brilliant nurse, Emma. Your patients need you." "Are you firing me?" she asked, only half joking. "I'm setting you free. You've put your life on hold for me for too long." Emma looked out at the darkening sky. "What if I'm exactly where I want to be?" Lucas studied her face in the fading light. "And where is that, exactly?" "In transition," she answered honestly. "Just like you. Between who I was and who I'm becoming." He nodded slowly. "I understand that better than most." "I know you do." She turned to face him fully. "That's part of why I stay." The moment stretched between them, full of unspoken possibilities. But Lucas broke it gently. "I have something to show you," he said, reaching for a tablet on the table beside him. "A new project I've been working on." On the screen was a blueprint for what looked like a medical device. "It's a neural response monitor," he explained. "Based on what happened to me, what you did for me. It measures the brain's reaction to human connection, to voice, to touch. It could help doctors and families understand how to better reach patients in comas or vegetative states." Emma stared at the design, emotion welling in her throat. "You're creating this because of what happened between us?" "I'm creating it because you showed me that medicine isn't just science, it's humanity. And maybe technology can help bridge that gap for others who are lost in the dark." In that moment, Emma realized that whatever was growing between them, complicated and undefined as it was, had already created something beautiful in the world. 6 months after Lucas's awakening, Blackwood Tech launched the Neural Connection Initiative, a non-profit division dedicated to developing technologies for patients with consciousness disorders. Emma, having returned to nursing but now serving as a consultant to the initiative, watched from the audience as Lucas presented their first breakthrough device to the medical community. Gone was any trace of physical weakness. Lucas moved across the stage with confidence, his passion evident as he explained how the technology worked and the difference it could make. "We've already seen promising results in preliminary trials," he told the audience of medical professionals. Patients who showed no external signs of awareness demonstrated measurable responses to loved ones' voices, to music, to stories shared at their bedside. After the presentation, at the reception that followed, Emma found herself approached by Dr. Harrison, her former supervisor at Manhattan Memorial. "Quite a journey you two have been on," he remarked, watching Lucas across the room as he spoke animatedly with a group of neurologists. "It's been unexpected," Emma admitted. "The best things usually are." Dr. Harrison sipped his champagne. "You know, in 30 years of medicine, I've seen countless miracles. But what happened between you and Lucas Blackwood, that connection, it's reminded all of us why we got into healing in the first place." Before Emma could respond, Lucas appeared at her side, his hand finding hers naturally. "Dr. Harrison was just saying we've inspired some of the medical staff," Emma explained. Lucas smiled. "When really, they inspired us. Especially this one," he added, squeezing Emma's hand. Later that night, as they walked through Central Park, something that had become a ritual for them, Lucas stopped beneath a cherry tree in full bloom. "Do you remember telling me about these while I was in the coma?" he asked. "You said they reminded you that everything has its season." Emma nodded, surprised he recalled that specific conversation among the hundreds she'd had with his unconscious form. "I think about that a lot," Lucas continued. "About seasons. About timing." He turned to face her fully. "Emma, I've been thinking about what you said that night on the terrace, about being in transition. I think we both were. But I'm not anymore." Her heart quickened. "What do you mean?" "I mean I know exactly who I am now, and what I want." He took both her hands in his. "The man who woke up in that hospital room was lost, broken. You helped me find my way back, not just to consciousness, but to purpose. To the best version of myself." Emma felt tears threatening. "Lucas. Let me finish," he said gently. "I'm not offering you a fairy tale. I'm not the prince, and you're not some magical savior. We're just two people who found each other in the darkest possible circumstances and created light together. And I don't want that light to ever go out." From his pocket, he withdrew not a ring, but a small cherry blossom carved from rose quartz. In Japanese culture, cherry blossoms represent the beauty and fragility of life, how precious each moment is because it doesn't last forever. He pressed the stone into her palm. "This is my promise to never forget that lesson, and to spend whatever seasons I have left creating something beautiful with you, if you'll have me." Emma closed her fingers around the blossom, feeling its smooth contours against her skin. "Are you asking what I think you're asking? I'm asking if you'll continue this journey with me, not as my nurse, not as my employee, but as my partner. My equal. My love." Under the canopy of cherry blossoms, with petals occasionally drifting down around them like snow. Emma gave him her answer.